Okay everybody, today I'll tell you the story of Spectre, a James Bond movie from 2015. This is the previous entry to the series before No Time to Die, which is hitting theaters right now. Now I gotta say, when I was writing the script for this one, I was thinking like, are you serious? Are you sure there is not like a 007 movie from 2018, you know, that I've never heard of? That I don't remember about? Because it's been like 6 years. Seriously, it's like waiting for the next Game of Thrones book. Yeah, but anyway, that's how this industry works. So before we continue, remember to subscribe to the channel because seriously, it means a lot to us. Okay? Done? Well, let's go. The movie opens in Mexico City with an amazing parade on Dia de Muertos, and I gotta tell you something about it. I'm from Mexico City, and those shots make it look like it was 100 degrees. But to be honest, the normal weather here, it's a bit rainy and 60 to 70 degrees all year, so no, Sam Mendes, Mexico City is not a desert, but it's probably a dessert. Okay, that's a terrible pun, sorry. Anyway, Bond is wearing an amazing costume and he gets to a balcony, crosses a few blocks and is ready to kill somebody. The bad guys mention the Pale King and then are killed by Bond, and the whole thing explodes for a reason. Bond sees one of the bad guys who survived. They both run through the parade until a helicopter descends to pick up the guy. Bond gets on the aircraft too, and they fight in the air in an amazing sequence. But in the end, Bond kills the guy and the pilot, throwing them out of the chopper and hoping those men didn't end up falling on somebody else. Oh, and Bond took a ring from the guy. That's how this movie starts.
I'm feeling something.
Back to London, we'll learn 007 was in Mexico by himself, not in a mission, so he's grounded indefinitely. We also learn the MI5 and the MI6 will merge, which basically means the end of spies. 007 then meets with Moneypenny at his place and tells her the mission in Mexico was a secret request by Judi Dench. So how can you say no? She's a national treasure. He then meets Q, who implants nanobots in his bloodstream, so the MI6 know his location at all times. By the way, that's when we'll learn this movie is also funny. I don't know how to feel about that, because there are too many jokes if you ask me, and after the serious tone that Skyfall had, it threw me off a bit. Bond also tells Q he'll need 2 days off the radar, as he's going on a trip. 007 then steals a car and goes to Rome, to the funeral of the man he killed in Mexico, to check if there is a piece of missing information, you know, double checking. In the funeral, he talks to the widow and then prevents her murder at her home. They both have, a sexy time. That's when she says the organization his husband worked for will have a reunion tonight to decide who'll be a replacement for the lost member. Bond wears the ring he took from the man in Mexico and suits up to join the secret meeting. In the place, he sees people from a bunch of different countries who are talking about how they control a big part of different businesses around the world. We also meet Mr. Hinks, who's an assassin and assassinates a man who didn't do his job very well, I think. But the most surprising thing of all that is that we learn the boss's boss of the place knows Bond is there and even looks at him from a long distance. Bond runs and gets to his car, but then he's chased by Mr. Hinks in another dope car. At that moment, he calls Moneypenny and asks her to check for information about the Pale King, who she says is a man called Mr. White, a man Bond knew from the first and second Daniel Craig movies. He also asked Moneypenny to investigate a man called Franz Oberhauser, who James Bond recognized as the head of the organization and was supposedly dead. It seems like Mr. Hinks is very good at chasing, so the only way for 007 to escape is by throwing flames, from his car and then jumping from it, like the good old days. He then goes to Austria to find Mr. White in a small cabin in the middle of nowhere. The man is not doing very well at the moment, having been poisoned days before, saying he has 2 weeks before he dies. Bond wants to know where Oberhauser is, but the man says he's everywhere. The spy then asks if Mr. White is trying to protect someone, swearing he can protect this person. The former villain says it's his daughter, who's got important information and who Bond can find in a clinic in Switzerland, and then takes his own life. Back in London, M talks to the man behind the merge of MI5 and MI6, Max, who lets M hear the phone conversation Moneypenny and Bond had.
You watch MI6 agents?
We watch everyone.
Bond gets to the clinic and meets Mr. White's daughter, who's working as a doctor at the place. Bond says her father is dead, and that he promised to keep her safe because she's got information on l'Américain. The woman, Madeleine Swann, refuses to give any information, so Bond waits in the bar while she changes her mind. Unexpectedly, Q arrives at the place and tries to persuade 007 of going back to London, as his and Moneypenny's careers are in danger. But the spy says he wants a last favor, to examine the ring he took from the man in Mexico. Moments later, the whole thing goes south, as Mr. Hinks arrives at the clinic and takes Madeleine with him. Another pursuit begins, involving Mr. Hinks. Bond takes a small plane, but it's soon taken down by the bad guys. But that's nothing for this man, as 007, drives the aircraft and manages to hit the cars where the bad guys were. He takes Madeleine with him and then convinces her to talk. She says l'Américain is not a person but a place in Morocco, and that the criminal organization they are after is called Spectre. That's a cool name, isn't it? The place is a hotel. Madeleine says she and her family stay there every year. Bond finds nothing interesting in the room, but at night, when he sees a mouse going through a wall, he thinks it's possible there is another room behind the room. And yes, there is one. They find some coordinates that Bond thinks point to the secret base of Oberhauser, and it's in the middle of the desert, what provides a perfect cover. They take a train to get closer. In the meantime, Max, who's in charge of the merge of MI5 and MI6, says he'll stop the 00 program as soon as he can, because the spies are just a waste of resources compared with the tech they have. Back on the train, the pair is intercepted by Mr. Hinks. This is by far the best fight in all the movie, because it seriously looks like Mr. Hinks is unbeatable. Until he's not, after they try to strangle him and he doesn't remove the rope from his neck. Then Bond ties the rope to some containers and throws them off the train. Yeah, that's how Mr. Hinks dies. Bond and Madeleine get to the place they are supposed to be. There they wait, and it's obvious the bad guys know they are in there and will eventually pick them up because of reasons, I guess. They are taken to some interesting facilities where they meet Oberhauser, who explains how he's in charge of the whole planet, as he can hear even what's going on at MI6. Bond then says he knows Max is one of Oberhauser's men, to what he agrees, but doesn't care too much. Then Madeleine is shown a video where his father suicides and they get 007 unconscious. He wakes up being tortured by a machine that drills his skull. At that point, we learn the most unexpected truth, and I don't know how to feel about that the Oberhauser family adopted Bond after his family passed away. That made the villain jealous of the relationship his father and James had, so Oberhauser killed his father and made it look like he had died too. The bad guy is almost ready to kill Bond, but as any Bond villain, he'll give him time to come up with a plan, and yeah, he does. He throws his explosive watch at the control panel of the machine, and Madeleine releases him from the strains. They escape by blowing up the whole place, seriously, the whole freaking place, and then they use a chopper. Back to London, they meet with M, Q, and Moneypenny to plan how they'll stop Spectre and Max. Madeleine says goodbye until the next movie, or so we think. And then Bond and M are intercepted by the bad guys. They take Bond, but miss M. That doesn't actually matter too much, since 007 is able to defeat a squad while having a bag on his head and being cuffed with a piece of plastic. M and Q get to where Max is. At the same time, Bond gets inside the old MI6 building, suspecting Oberhauser is in there. The man is actually, there, waiting for the secret agent, and says he's got Madeleine in the building and that in 3 minutes the whole thing will be demolished. Why not 2 minutes? Why not 1 minute? Why not at that exact moment, you know, like, yeah, you could have killed James Bond at that moment. I don't understand. The villain leaves and Bond starts running around trying to find Madeline. Before the time ends, he finds her and they both jump to a very convenient net and make it out just in time. At that moment, Max and M start fighting, but that's quite brief as Max ends up falling to his death. Bond chases the helicopter where Oberhauser is. He shoots and misses all but one, then manages to set the chopper on fire, and the aircraft ends up crashing. Now Bond has a chance to kill the man, but he chooses not to. That's how this movie ends, with Oberhauser probably getting out of jail a few months later, cause let's face it, the legal system might be compromised. And that's about it. I gotta say, this is not my favorite James Bond movie, especially starring Daniel Craig. You know, like after Skyfall, everything was, I don't know, that movie was just so good. And then this one, oh, I don't know, it was really difficult for me to enjoy the film. Actually, during the story, it is revealed that a Spectre was behind like basically every Bond villain. But in my case, I think, you know, just such a weird thing. I mean, Spectre was never mentioned before, and actually, I just told you the story, and it had, I mean, you know, like, it didn't change a bit, not even a bit. So yeah, I gotta say, I thought it was not a very good ending, and probably not a very good plot. But well, you know, I'm not a critic or anything like that. I'm just a random guy here telling you different stories of different movies. That's about it. Now let me know what's your favorite Bond film. I'm David, have a good day and see you soon. Bye.